Hi, it's Tanya with Red Cardinal Crafts, and today I wanted to make a memory frame for my dad. I made one years ago for my mom, and it's in this black Riba frame that I got at IKEA, and I had bought an extra one years later, but these ones have a glass in them, and the new ones that IKEA does, it's more of a plexiglass, so it doesn't make it as heavy. But yeah, I thought I would make another one. This one has stood the test of time. I glued all this stuff in there 10 years ago, and it's survived quite a few moves. So yeah, it's worked well, and I'm really happy with how Mum's had turned out. So I was going to make a new one today with Dad's, and I have the little flyer from the church and everything. So I thought I'd show you how I make these. So I have the flyer from the church. This is what we had. Everyone got a copy of it. And we have his little picture there. And inside we have the list of how the Mass went. And then over on the right, I have a poem that Phyllis had sent me. And it's beautiful. It's called The Red Feathered Soul. And I thought that was perfect. So we added it to the flyer. I'll just do a little close-up in case you want to freeze the video for a minute and read it. And then on the back we just had Dad's obituary that had gone in the paper. So the thing with this is that you're going to want a couple copies of this, and I have extra photos of them and a couple extra copies of the flyer. And I just have to dust this off. I've kept this in storage for a while. You're just going to need a little piece of material. I kept this aside knowing that I was going to make this someday. And it's just some fairly thick black material. And I just need a brad like I had for Mom's, and I had put a letter D aside. Mom's was in letter L because her name was Lorraine and my dad's name was Donald. So I love this little thing from close to my heart. I have some ribbon in here. I had gone through all my embellishments, and you saw that when I got rid of some things in Seattle. The secret is I never did get rid of all that stuff. It's in a big old scrapbook bag. All the embellishments I had gone through, I held on to. So you just take your piece of material, and you just want to trim it to just a little bit bigger than the piece of wood. You can see it's a little messy on the back. I really do need to trim those little strings off and use some fray check and just trim it up a little bit. So I just leave about, I don't know, half an inch or so around the outside, and I just had run upstairs to iron that a little bit better. And then I'm just going to glue this down to the board. So I'll just get my trusty tacky glue here, and I'm just going to lay it down on the material, and it holds it really well, and the glue didn't go through the fabric. It's fairly thick fabric, so it was good. And then I'm just going to fold up the edges and go around. It's not as neat, I'm sure, as it could be, and I could probably trim some of those edges, the corners, so that it would fold a little bit nicely, but they stay in the frames. It's worked, it's held it. We just pray that nobody looks at the back of the frame. So now I'm just taking the flyer, and I just want the front of it, I just want it at a little bit of an angle the way I had done Mom's. So I'm just gonna kind of fold it over the edge of that frame there just to kind of guide where I need to cut it. And then I just cut it out. So if you only have one copy of these, just put it on your printer and make some color copies, because you're probably going to need like at least 2 or 3 copies of it. And then I'm just going to lay it down right there. And I don't need that extra little triangle part, so I'm just trimming that off. And I don't glue anything down until the end. I wait till I get everything laid out, and then I'll glue everything. And the way I had Mom's, I just had it off to the side. She had a little sunflower, and we didn't have anything on there, but we did have the cardinals, so I'll end up cutting out the little picture of the cardinals so I can put that there too. The writing on this was a little bit bigger, and so was the picture, so I just had to scoot Dad's picture over a little bit. And then that's all the layout of the Mass, basically. It's just the order that things went at the ceremony, just all the songs and everything. We had the exact same program as Mom's. The singer was amazing, and we wanted all the same songs. And then for the ribbon, I just tuck one end under where the picture of Dad is. So you just want your ribbon a little bit longer so it'll tuck in underneath, and just enough that it'll go around the edge of the frame. And again, I don't glue anything down just yet. And then the ribbon, you just flip it around and make a little bow. I used to work at a gift basket store, so I made bows every day that I worked there. And then I'm just going to cut the tail a little bit long, and then I'm just using just a seam ripper just to make the hole big enough so I can get the brad in there. And I just fold the sides of that down. And then I'm just going to trim the ends of the ribbon. You know, you just fold them in half and then make the little cut so it has like the two little points. And it's not like this gets tattered, so I don't bother putting any fray check on there. And then there it is, and I have my little carnation down at the bottom. And I'm just making sure everything fits. I was going to ink the edges, but I realized I don't have any ink. I got rid of all of it when we left Seattle, and I had one little square of black. You can see it there on the right, and it was totally dried up, so the inking was not going to happen. And I'm okay with that. That's all right. And then I'm just gluing down the pieces. This is the Livestrong bracelet I wore the whole time my dad was sick. After my mom passed away, I had taken mine off. It was starting to break a little bit, and I put it inside her frame. So now that Dad's gone, I took the bracelet off, and I'm going to put it inside his frame. And I'm just going to give it one more clean. I've stored this frame for years, so it was a little dusty. And I end up getting out my glue gun because I had just used my tacky glue for the flower, and I ended up using a glue gun for the bow and for the flower on Mom's, and it's stayed all these years. Like I said, we've been through a few moves now, and it's never fallen apart. So I stand up the frame so I can fit everything in and I can see what it's going to look like instead of just laying it flat down. And it's a little tricky to get in, and all the frame has to hold those in are just those little tabs. We've come so far with technology. I think frames would have something more than those little tabs to hold it in. But there it is. It's all done. I love the little picture of the cardinals down the bottom. We always have had the red cardinal for the sign for Mom, and Dad said that he would come back and be a brown one. So there they are with their little frames. So I just displayed them up in our bonus room upstairs on top of a bookshelf. So it's a fun thing to do. It's nice. It's a nice little memory. So I hope you inspired. I hope I inspired you guys to make one of your own. And I hope you guys are good. And I'll be back with some more videos soon. All right. Take care, guys. See ya.